on this week's Nonsensible podcast.
And I was like, hey, mister, what were you listening to? And he just looks at me like super creepy and goes, a lot of things.
You know the guy who gave Saul the pink t-shirt? That's me. Like, he's back, bro.
Me.
I'm back.
I'm back. My name is G2. You should follow me on Instagram. I have an album coming out. Come here. Let's take a photo. It was just annoying. I think he was just trying to annoy me. He's like, yo, check.
This is Nonsensible.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
How you doing? How you doing? This is
What's up,
Nonsensible with Sam.
And Saul Goode.
You guys are
Yeah.
way too sensible to be on nonsense. That's what I'm thinking. I'm just like spotting it, man.
You don't know us
Wait till
well
I
enough.
get a couple in me. Start chatting lots of nonsense. Who do we have with us today, Sam?
All right, we've got G2 joining us in the
Sorry,
studio.
guys.
G2, if you want to introduce yourself
Yep.
to the listeners and viewers who may not know who you are.
Well, my name is G2. That's also my stage name / my real name, Korean name.
Which I just found out. That's
Yeah,
wild.
yeah, it's crazy. So a lot of people, that's like my repertoire. Like my sister's name is G1 and I just became G2. So one of the good thing about that is I never had to worry about the rapper name.
Yeah.
So
that sounds
yeah.
What's my rapper name gonna be?
G2. Because I always think like when you're like in your 30s and stuff and you're still like, obviously when you're still rapping and you're just like, hi, my name is like a little gangster. You know what I mean? Like, it's
That's
like a
basically,
little-
we were talking about that last week, like about how I want to change my rap name to my real name.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
everyone's like seen Breaking Bad and Saul Goode. It's just like,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
not
yeah,
fresh anymore.
yeah.
And also we have DJ Fenner, also
Sup.
Ali.
Yeah, his name.
I thought it was one of the hosts.
Fenner.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was one of those.
I look like one of the hosts,
Yeah,
don't
exactly.
I? Yeah, maybe I should come on more often.
Like I come here, there's like 3 white guys. I'm like, oh, okay. Today's guest is a Korean rapper.
Because of YouTube, you can't say too handsome for radio anymore. Because this guy back in the day would have been way too handsome for radio.
I guess that's a compliment. All right, cheers.
It is a compliment, yeah. He's a good looking guy.
maybe slightly backhanded, but
Yeah.
it's definitely a compliment.
This guy looks like a statue. I'm not kidding.
So, Ollie, for viewers and listeners who may not know who you are, what about a brief introduction?
Yeah, well, I've been DJing. That's all I do, really. Just DJ music production. Been doing that
Nice.
for 20 years now.
You've been in Korea for 20 years?
I've been in Korea for 10 years, but I've been doing like since I was a nipper.
Cool.
as they say.
A nipper?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's a nipper?
Like a little kid, mate. You don't know? I think they say that in Australia, man.
Knee high to a grasshopper.
Yeah, that's a nipper.
Very, yeah.
Wow.
It's like a,
Yeah.
I
yeah.
learned something then as well.
So we say about little kids. We call
I don't
them
understand
nippers.
any of this.
Yeah.
You would, that's fine. So yeah, music.
Yeah.
What, the genre of music you normally involved in?
Like over the years, I've done kind of everything I want. It's mainly dance music. It's normally quite high energy, but like anything from kind of like house to hardstyle, drum and bass, dubstep, hip hop, trap. Anything that's kind of like that I enjoy, I will do. you know,
Yeah.
so that there's no DJing wise, it's more about pleasing the crowd. Like to some extent. Unless the show is about me and in which like showcasing my music, which it can be, but. If it's in a club, I try to please them. But as a producer, it's completely different. As a producer,
for sure.
I do whatever I feel like and what I do. And people are like, oh, why don't you make one style? I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I wake up on a Sunday hungover. I want to make jazz. Like,
Yeah.
Do
That's
one.
one of the, that's one of the hardest things too as an artist. It's like, do I want to please myself or do I want to please, what the fans want from me? So it's hard to find that boundary.
Yeah.
You do both.
On that note, though, but how do you choose that? Because obviously, as an artist, there's certain genres that you want to at least attempt.
Yeah.
But then you have a fan base that say, well, we expect this from G2.
Yeah.
And if they're the people that are buying the music,
Yeah.
like, how do you find that balance as an artist?
I guess you just go through a lot of YouTube comments.
With great difference.
what they talk about me. Because I feel like I definitely has this image. So for the people that don't know, I gained a little bit of fandom from the hip hop competition show, Show Me the Money. So I guess from that show, I created this like aggressive, this very energetic image. So when I get a lot of features, that's what people send me. Like a lot of trap song, a lot of like grunge songs. But for me, I'm like a pretty chill guy, so I like that soft music.
That's why I asked you earlier, what kind of like style do you do? Your voice style, because your voice is really chill, but then like you can get on stage and like
it's some,
different.
some songs are very, very like very chill and very like very low key vibe. But that was my second album that came out last year and didn't do too well.
Is that when people talk shit to you?
They're like, you need to do something else. You need to go back to boom bap. Yeah, exactly.
Changed, bro.
I have like friends, like older Korean friends, young, who like, I won't say his name, you know him, who will get drunk and just like send me, I'll wake up to 50 text messages him being like, you need to switch back to your old style. Your shit's trash now. You should stick with
Is that out of love for you? Or like, or is that, what is that though? Like,
Okay.
Anger.
Being that the three of you are all artists that are making music, is that not part of the progression of being a musician? Is as you mature, your
for me
music
personally,
needs to change. If you're making the same music for each album, you're not progressing as an artist.
sure.
But your fans not also going to say, I'm just buying the same shit time and time again to buy an album.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's the same thing as like cancel culture, right? You can only be canceled if you really give a fuck what the people who are doing the canceling say, right? Like, you would get the impression that the entire world is a certain way if you listen to the loudest people on the internet. The same thing goes with like people who are like, you should have stayed on that like DJ Premier style, like jazzy hip hop vibe. It's like, that's easy for you to say, like, you have a 9 to 5, I'm trying to make it in music. I can't just like do the exact same thing. And
unless it's like the golden concept. But,
And I think you want to push yourself too. You want to try new stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's important that you be consistent because it's a fast changing like time that we're living in right now. So like even like what's hot changes, every so on and so on. So like you just got to be consistent and push out. And I think it's all about timing also because you never know, you might have that click of like you finally find yourself as an artist. And like you said, I think it's all about the process. Yeah.
I don't know. For me, it's like learning basically. So like I'm not greedy with like, I have to make this one style and so it's collaboration. So I don't rap like you guys rap. So you have your own kind of like voice or whatever.
Yeah.
But with a beat, it's like, I like working with the people. So me and Saul actually made a track before and I made that just because it's a project between someone who I vibe with and we can make something cool. And as long as the standard's high, like whatever genre it is, it doesn't matter for me. As long as it's a dope track and people are like, that's pretty good.
The same thing for me too. Music has always been a hobby. I still don't take it as a job for me.
Really?
So like as soon as it becomes like a burden, like I just take my hands off of it. So I feel like when I'm in the studio, I need to be with like a producer. I need to be with people. I need to be with like that typical rapper studio vibe. Like I need to have that. And like you said, as long as the music's dope and I fuck with it, I think it's, it's best. And like one more thing too, like I'm still trying to figure out how to be an artist. And also like right now, I'm still trying to figure out how to be an adult. Like and be human.
How old are you now?
I'm 28 in the States, so like I'm still trying to figure out my life shit right now. So it's just,
how's that going for you?
It's going.
Let me tell you, it doesn't get any easier as you get older. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing with my life, and I've got 2 kids.
I can tell, like at 28, you're like, I'm starting to grow up. I'm starting to get this. And then you live like 2 years and you think you're happy. And then like 31, you're like, damn, I'm a piece of shit. And like you sit in your living room and like really sad by yourself for like an entire year.
You start listening to Jordan Peterson. You're like, write down like how to manage your life and all this stuff.
Maybe it's good Neverland.
Living in Korea, I still have to call my mom about the bank stuff too. I'm like, can you help me?
Corona's hit hard.
My wife still helps me with it. Don't worry. It's like there's something in life. You get married, you have kids. There's those turning points where you're always like, have I become an adult yet?
Yeah.
And then you start living it and you're like, I still don't know what I'm doing. Because there's no playbook. You can't study for it. You have to live your life to experience it. So it's all like you make mistakes and you're learning from them.
Is there some like super fire dad on YouTube who you go to for advice?
Jordan Peterson.
I don't know. He's in a bad place right now.
What happened? What happened?
You don't know
No.
what's going on with him? He was taking this anti-anxiety medicine and it just like drove him crazy. He got super addicted to it.
Oh, wow.
He was in the hospital.
Really?
His like family had to like fly him to like this weird hospital in Russia or something.
And that was because he was taking medicine?
Yeah, he got like addicted to it. It's a crazy story. He just did a podcast with his daughter.
Oh, wow.
Where they like talk about
dude, that shows you, man, nobody's perfect, dude.
Yeah. He's a great brain, though. He's got a great brain.
But yeah, he's smart. He's a smart guy. He says some controversial things, but he's definitely, I think the reason that he resonates with a lot of men is just because like, there really wasn't anybody being like, yo, if you don't get your shit together, you're going to regret it, you know? There should be someone who leans a little bit more left who says the same kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have somebody that you look to for dad?
Not
advice?
at all. But that's the thing. Growing up I think it's difficult at times growing up as a male because there are so many expectations of what males should be.
Yeah.
Like when we were growing up, you know, men shouldn't cry. You got to be tough.
And that's bullshit.
Yeah, no, it's absolute bullshit.
It is.
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with crying, and sometimes I feel so much better after having a breakdown.
Yeah.
But we have it ingrained, especially from my generation. Was you know you got to be tough. You know, you fall over, you get up, don't cry about it.
Yeah.
I don't have someone that I look up to, but I kind of look back at my experiences and those life lessons that I learned. I say to my kids, there's nothing wrong with crying. You know, if that makes you feel better.
I don't. Not right now.
But if he wants.
But there is a time and a place. Like, don't cry because I'm not going to give you a banana for breakfast. But there are things that, you know, just cry about it. If you're unhappy, there's nothing wrong with crying.
For sure. And especially with the Korean traditional men, like I've always learned that, I was always taught that like men are supposed to be really good at or tolerant of drinking hot soup or eating very spicy like food and stuff. So that still is like engraved in my brain.
And so you're crying every day.
I burn my roof of my tongue every time.
I always joke with people that like I literally think I could drink boiling water now after living in Korea.
Because it always comes in that boiling hot pot.
My Italian friend, he's only lived here for like 6 months or something. Every time we go out to eat, he's like, "You're fucking kidding! You're already drinking shit. What's wrong with you, bro?"
I have a friend that just waits. He just stares at it until it cools down.
Just blows on it.
And I'm just like, can I start eating?
That's the trick, though. I find it difficult. Like, you know, coming from the West, you don't have those hot pots. It's like, you know, it comes out warm, generally, not piping hot. Moving along, G2, you mentioned that you've got another project that's in the works at the moment.
Yeah. So I got an album coming out next week, and I mentioned earlier that I go to the East Beach, Yangyang, to go surfing a lot, and a couple of my homies opened up a food truck shop.
What's it called?
It's called Ingu Market. So the beach is called Ingu, so we just went with the traditional market theme. And it's been super hectic because this is my first business venture. And it just the timing with the album just been going. It's been crazy. So I went for a bit of a panic attack for a little bit, but I'm trying not to overthink. So I'm here for the podcast for this day, and then I'm going back
you're
tomorrow.
worried about not doing enough for your album, man. This is part of the thing. You know?
For sure.
Going on little promo runs.
No, but so like I'm going solo dolo now. I'm independent. I have no label right now, so it's been hard to just keep balance of things. But like I said, this is all part of the process as an artist, and I'm just going with the flow and trying not to like overthink it. You know, and I feel like when people are gonna listen, people are gonna listen. So I'm pretty excited for it because this new album, I feel like a lot of fans are gonna be satisfied with it. Like they're gonna be saying some bullshit like, "Oh, this is what we wanted from you."
That's what they wanted. This is those YouTube comments.
Because I feel like I went back to my own roots. Like I'm having fun with it. Like I'm like doing a lot of boom bap. I'm just taking it very lightly and taking it less serious than the album before.
Do you have any features on the record?
Yeah, on the feature I have Bill Stacks, I have Loopy, I have Owen Overdose, Owa Mood, and I have this very famous guitarist, Park Ju-won. He's a very famous gypsy guitarist. And I don't know if I left anyone out, but yeah.
Have you got a title for the album yet?
Yes, I just went with
Ingu Market, right?
Since that's really good.
The promotions, come on.
Promotion is on point.
Synergy,
even with the at Ingu Market, because that's our what do you call it, Instagram page. Anyways, since I'm right by the beach and I just kind of just wanted to have that theme, like half glass, water, glass half full, half empty kind of vibe. So I just went with water. Just, just go with the flow, water. Yeah, and I was just drinking water at the time. I was just like, fuck it, water.
Hey, you said you're drawing the cover art as well. So does that mean you're drawing water as well?
No. It's me like sideways with like half in the water.
Oh wow!
And like I have dreads, so like it looks. I wanted to make it cool, like way the dreads flow into water.
You should do you said you haven't shot a lot of videos yet. Maybe you should do a video underwater.
That's what I wanted to do. Yo, should I look that up, man? It's expensive.
Yeah.
Like I said, man, everything's coming out of my own pocket. It's different when it's out of your own pocket.
GoPros are waterproof these days.
I've got a GoPro I could lend you, bro, for free. Yeah.
I should just have that on, like on my hand and just swim around the water.
Or you get them on like a pole now, and you can just stick it underwater. Someone can hold it for you, and you just dunk your head under, and you're good to go.
Did you see the new G Yamazawa video?
No, I haven't.
He's got long hair like you too, and he's underwater. It looks crazy because your hair just does whatever the fuck it wants to do.
Well, I wanted to go with something like a paradox theme too. So in one of the music videos, it's called Drowning, and I wanted to have like me inside the water, but smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
So like, you know what I mean? But then like add some CG into it and like have smoke coming out. Like I could still smoke underwater.
That would be sick.
Yeah, but that's expensive too.
That sounds incredibly expensive.
Defying the laws of physics is always pricey.
And the reality is, like, for that on any Korean television network, you're gonna have to
exactly
black it all out anyway.
Yeah. But I feel like television is just not that relevant anymore. So I'm just aiming towards a lot more just Instagram, social network, and just YouTube now.
Shots fired at Sam.
No, no shots fired at me. Just the people that employ me. That's fine.
Deflection.
That's fine. Before we came in today, Saul mentioned something about, did you want us to talk about?
What?
You mentioned groupies.
Oh, yeah, I thought that would be cool. They just asked us to ask you guys an interesting question. And I wondered if you guys had like an interesting story about groupies.
Groupies.
What's your most interesting groupie story? My interesting story about groupies is my first record that I put out when I was 15 years old was called I Wish We Had Some Groupies.
So lack of.
Which I didn't even think about it until just now.
Dope. No, I feel like the Korean market, the fan base is very young. So it's weird to call them groupies. They're pretty so I just feel weird just saying groupies.
Okay. Groupies, not necessarily using the terminology that you refer to it in English, but
maybe like stalkers.
Yeah, well, just fan stories even that have kind of.
Well, I mean, I have a very small group of fans in my Kakao Talk. Like it's called G2's fan group.
Oh, cool.
A private talk.
Yeah, private talk. Yeah. So we just send each other photos and stuff like what we're eating and stuff, sharing foods or drinks, and on my birthdays they send me like the hangover drinks, but with like my face on it.
Oh,
so that's pretty cute.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cute. Yeah. So I'm like that's pretty dope. And most of the times when I'm out and about during the nightlife, a lot of girls, especially they wouldn't know me, but it's let's say some of them do, and so they want to act like they know me. Mm-hmm. So that's a little fun. But I like that better because I'm always sketched out if they do know me, and I'm trying to holler.
Yo,
I'm
really?
I don't like hollering at fans. It's weird. Yeah.
I just don't like having initially having power over anyone like that,
Yeah.
I wanted to start with an even playing field.
Yeah.
I used to say that I would never date girls who fucked with hip hop. Because I don't want to just think that they like me because I'm rapping.
Yeah, exactly. That's true.
And how's that worked out for you?
Yeah.
My girlfriend
fucks
a rapper.
She's a rapper.
It's kind of, is that not the first common ground that you find is kind of, we kind of share the same interest in music,
that's true,
Yeah.
And that's how you start building on that relationship. So if you eliminate that
my
from...
girlfriend a fucking groupie?
No, she's a wannabe rapper. So give it 6 months, she's going to learn everything off you, and then she's going to
I'm not going to lie. I do sometimes feel the type of way when a girl be let's say, for example, it's I'm a huge fan of Saul.
Yeah.
And I was like, why not? Like, I feel some type of way. I'm just like, I don't want you to be that girl. Like, you know what I mean? Like you said, I don't want you to, like me because of that I'm in the field. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want you to have some like unrealistic view of what my life is.
And we live in a pretty sensitive, dangerous time for like artists and like personalities. So you just always got to be careful.
You don't want someone putting you on a pedestal.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
I'm like, hey, put your phone right here. Put your phone right here.
Right, so you can put your number in it. Like, man, switch up.
I bet DJ Fenner has a couple crazy stories.
In what sense? Like, I've had a stalker before, but like that was just weird.
That's what I want.
That's just weird.
That's crazy.
Really? I mean,
Pull that mic a little bit. I want to say, get on my Joe Rogan. Pull that mic just a little bit closer to your face.
Just like,
and then tell us about your stalker.
She's not in there, is she? It was a girl. It could have been a guy. You know?
There was something about facial recognition that I was watching yesterday. Taylor Swift has like facial recognition like we have in our phones that goes out to everybody in the crowd at her shows because she has so many stalkers.
Really?
Wow, that's cool.
That is scary.
Yeah.
Scary, but cool.
Cool in what sense? Because that would scare the shit out of me.
Pedophile over there, like murderer over here. Like that's in some ways it's kind of
on that edge.
They go to her house and shit.
But that's what I mean. Knowing
Scary
you're performing on stage and there could potentially be stalkers in the crowd. When I can't think of the woman, but there was kind of in the 90s, there was an actress that was killed by her stalker.
Yeah.
She was on a famous American TV show. I can't remember. It was like kind of back around the days of Family Ties and like that was early 90s. But she was killed by her stalker, John Lennon.
John Lennon was killed by a fan, yeah.
Wow.
So there's been people that have actually been killed because of stalkers. But if you're on a stadium tour with anywhere between 20 to 50,000 people in the audience and potentially you could have three or more stalkers in the crowd.
Statistically, there's definitely some murderers inside that group.
Yeah. Out of every 3 to 5 people, there's one murderer.
Yeah, exactly. There's one. There's
really?
at least. Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I was going to say, listen, they're really good odds.
bro. That's like
Scary
I'm
odds.
just kidding because he said there's got to be 3 to 5 stalkers, and then you said
there's probably 4 in this room right now.
No, but I don't know what movie or TV show this is from, but I remember a scene where this guy, he goes to make a speech for a high school graduation thing, and he just goes off saying like, hey, some of you guys are definitely dying, and some of you guys are going to jail. So
and at least one
look to your left, look to your right.
Who you with
might
right
be,
now?
you might be sitting next to a murderer.
So was your stalker a potential murderer?
No, I don't think so.
Well,
She didn't get me. Like,
What was up with her?
It was just, I just kept messaging. She was just like messaging, like it was on Facebook.
Yeah.
And it would just come in and like the messages would keep going. It wouldn't be like, hi, how are you? Like, let's be friends. It would be like 10, 20 messages.
It would be like
someone talking to
swimming pools.
themselves. Yeah. And then she'd start messaging my friends and the people I worked with.
Oh.
And they were like, who's this crazy so-and-so? And I was like, and then she was messaging my ex-girlfriend. And then so fortunately, my ex-girlfriend actually made friends with her and then sat her down and said basically like, if you don't stop, we're going to go to the police, like cyberbullying and all that kind of stuff. And then, and that was the end of it. It took 3 months to get to that point. And it was like really kind of, it's just like scary. And it's
What did she say to your girlfriend?
What do you mean?
Like, what did she say? Like, what's
eventually
DJ
she said
Fenner?
sorry. No, eventually she
What's
said
Ollie
sorry.
doing?
Yeah.
And then my girlfriend was like, why the fuck are you doing this? And she was like, oh, because I liked him. And I was just like, well, why? If you like someone, why you being weird like that? You just like be normal, and you might actually even get somewhere. But like, I was just weird.
Well, that was the end of it, though?
That was the end of it.
I guess
thank God.
she wasn't.
We got like signed
that
paper and
crazy
stuff, and
I guess she wasn't that crazy.
Yeah.
That ended quite well.
Yeah.
I had a fan that got my number somehow and just constantly called me like 10 times a day, but it was mostly kind of like a prank call. Like he would start rapping on the phone.
Heavy breathing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Or was he trying to get a...
G2. I'm G1. Not even like that. He would just my sister. I came before you. I'll end before you. No, but he would just do random ad-libs. It was just annoying. I think he was just trying to annoy me. He was like, yo, check. I'm like, what the fuck?
What? Check?
He was like, check. He was just doing a lot of ad-libs. Like, he was doing that constantly for like a week, every day, 10 times a day. I just
Like
drove
Mike
him
Check?
nuts.
Wow.
Yeah, like Mike Check. And I'm just like, oh my, but that just kind of faded away after a while. So, I mean, that was kind of, I guess it's a goofy story. I was kind of happy. I was like, whoa, shit, this happened to me. Nice.
When I was 11, I had like a real stalker, like
When you were 11?
like a real, like a man,
What
like
were
a
you doing?
grown
Like a
ass
pedophile?
fucking man. Yeah. Well, actually, I don't know if he was
You're
a
a
pedophile.
cute baby,
Or
that's
you're
why.
a
Just like
kid?
this
Yo,
little
can
cute
we-
soul is
can we
like,
put, like-
gonna come.
Can we put a picture of some of my baby pictures?
What
like
were you
this on the
doing
screen?
No, what
at
were
the
you
age of
wearing?
11?
That's the problem. I was. No,
What were you wearing?
He was wearing aprons and
Swim
stuff.
trunks. Swim trunks.
Oh my God.
And I was tight. This is before beer.
You were a sexy
Little
11-year-old.
Solly with rosy cheeks just like this, but a fucking six pack.
Did you have a hairy
I
chest?
rolled back on my tummy.
You didn't have a beard either, did you?
No, I might have been in the beginning of a chin strap.
Okay.
No.
At 11?
But yeah, I was at the pool one day. I actually did have a girlfriend at that time, and I remember like I was at the pool, like 11 years old, and just trying to like jump off the high dive, impress my girlfriend, blah blah blah. And there was this like maybe like 30-year-old kind of like pudgier, shaggy looking kind of dude, and he was sitting off to the side like on a lawn on like a swimming pool chair, dancing like this, like he had on headphones, and he's dancing, he's going crazy, and me and my boys were all laughing at him like, what is this guy doing? He's dancing so hard by himself. He looks so silly. And I was kind of a dickhead when I was a little kid. So my friends were like, Ryan, I dare you to go over there and ask him what he was listening to. And so like the pool gets shut down. Like always, like I'm the last person to leave, me and my boys. And he also was the last person to leave.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, mister, what were you listening to? And he just looks at me like super creepy and goes, a lot of things.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, oh, that was weird, but like I didn't think that much of it. So I get to the pool the next day, like bright and early, like it's beautiful outside. It's a crazy beautiful day. And this guy goes, hey, Ryan, come here. And I'm just like, how's this motherfucker know my name?
That's crazy.
Oh, that's
And I
scary.
go over and I sit next to him, and he's like, will you let me show you something? And he opens up this bag and he takes out one of those like yellow flippy notebooks, you know, like the notebooks that don't have the cover. And he takes it out and it's just like filled front to back with like writing and symbols and all this crazy shit. And he's like, this is my notebook about you.
Whoa.
And I was like, excuse me?
Excuse me, mister? Can I keep it? What's it
He's
about?
like, every single night I talk to your guardian angel. I turn my TV upside down and I put a little prism on top of it. And when I turn off the lights, your guardian angel comes out. And I know that it's your guardian angel because yesterday when you were jumping off the diving board, your cheeks were the same color as the angels.
Dang.
And I was like, so scared, but that I was like silent, you know. And I'm also like a people pleaser, so I didn't know how to be like, "Fuck you, mister," and run away. I just listened to him, and I was like, "That's sick," you know, whatever.
That's sick.
Like sick in which way?
That could go in two directions there.
Whatever word I have for sick. Anyways, like at that time, that's cool. But anyways, I ended up just sitting with him, and he talked to me for what seemed like it went by pretty quick, but I think it was a long time because I could tell that the lifeguards were like a little bit weirded out, like, what's going on? Are you okay? But then the dude's like, come out to my car with me. And
Yikes.
I was thinking, like, of course I'm not going to go to your car. And I was like, okay. And I went with him. I like actually went with this man to his car and we're like walking out and I'm like thinking in my head, like, why are no adults helping me? Why are no adults helping me? What? And he like walks me to the back of his car and he pops the trunk open and I'm like, oh, this is it. Well, this is why I said that he's not actually a pedophile, like, because he just like grabbed this like shitty old bag from like the thrift shop and he was like, I got you a present. And it was just like, it was like a pink t-shirt, like it looked like it was like a rock band from the 80s or something. Mm-hmm. And he was like, your guardian angel told me to give this to you. And I was like, oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. And he was like, want to go grab a bite to eat? And I was like, hell no! Ran away. And
That's
like
crazy.
right when I went back inside, like the lifeguards were like hugging me, like, "Are you okay?" And in my head, I'm like, "Where were you at just now? We're supposed to be adults."
Oh, that's creepy.
That's
It's kind of
sketchy.
got the
That's a
serial
traumatic-
killer kind of feel to it.
Yeah. But
So what happened to him though? Like,
I
you
don't
got his
like,
number and
he
that?
ended
or-
up like the pool that we were at. Like you had to be like a faculty member of UNC. So like he was
okay.
like the son of some professor or something. And my dad got his dad's phone number, and my dad
Called
just
it up, yeah.
went wild on him, like, you motherfucker, if you ever let your son next to my kid again, I'll wring your fucking neck. He just went nuts on him, and he got trespassed from like all the different places that the university, which is basically the whole town.
Damn, what a relief, though.
What happened to the T-shirt?
Yeah, I was going to say, the pink T-shirt is like, you must still have it.
I think it's probably in like a swimming drain somewhere.
A swimming drain somewhere.
It's your dad's oil rag for his car. He's like, never again, boy.
I'm thinking if it was a band from the 80s, that could be like a $300 shirt now.
That's
like
true.
vintage T-shirt.
If he loved you that much, it probably was pretty pricey.
Honestly, man, he sounds like a sweet guy.
Maybe he did wrong, bro.
Right? Like
He bought you a gift.
he didn't
your
take
sugar
advantage
daddy.
of. He didn't take advantage of me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Which he could have done. I think he just like literally was obsessed with me because of these cheeks.
Hey,
The rosy cheeks. The rosy cheeks.
damn, but imagine all the shit that girls go through then.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you ask all the girls,
Next level.
at least every one of them goes through shit like that.
Yeah.
Just
Even in the buses and stuff. Oh, you know, like in Japan, I don't know about China, but like in Japan and Korea, like all the iPhones, they don't have the option to turn the shutter sound off. Because you don't have to. You don't like. Yeah. What do you say?
It's like the hidden camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of pervs out there.
It just would suck to be thinking about like every time you get off the bus, like you have a 5-minute walk home and you have to like, worry if it's dark outside.
Everywhere you go, you have to, you second guess on looking over your shoulder. I mean, that can't be comfortable at all.
Do you know what? Like, I'm pretty sure every one of y'all had this moment where like there's a girl walking in front of you and I'm walking in the same pace. But I don't want to look like a creep. But I'm like thinking, I'm not contemplating if I should speed walk past her.
She's going to be worried because I'm kind of like at the same speed right now.
Like, should I take the long way road? I'm just like, I'm not a bad guy.
Just cross over, man. Like,
so I just call somebody. I was like, hello, yeah.
You don't want to speed up either because then they could get worried that you're chasing
like
them
increased
down.
tension.
So it's like, should I just go to the convenience store and just kind of sit here for 3 minutes and
I
then
just
get
call
out
my
again?
mom. It's like, oh, hey, mom. How are you doing?
That seems like a classic Pyeontae move, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, mom.
Yeah, that's not weird at all.
Yeah.
That's not weird at all.
Super sketch.
Thankfully, I haven't had any stalker issues or any of that, but we've had people turn up to my house.
Wanting to see the kids.
Yeah, ringing the doorbell at 8 o'clock in the morning, asking to take photos with the kids. Like on more than one occasion. And on more than one person, like multiple people.
How did they find your
I have
address?
no idea.
They have
But
to do,
someone
like,
knows
detective
someone.
work.
Well, I think
you have neighbors.
Well, that's the thing. People generally know what area we live in, and all the kids in the complex know which apartment we're in.
Yeah.
Like if you go to the playground, the kids say, "Oh, you're in such and such an apartment," and they're like, "Yeah." But having people turn up and like knock on the door. My wife actually had to tell the woman. She's like, no. She's like, the kids are asleep. And she's like, well, I'll wait till they wake up.
Oh, my God.
And she's like, no, I'm not going to open the door when they wake up. I'm not going to open the door at all. Please go.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair though, isn't it? It's like if the timing's right, it's right. If it's not,
it's not.
Privacy, go away.
But your kids are pretty much a fucking rock star at this point in Korea.
More than that. Come on.
And I agree with that. But it's kind of like, I don't know. For me, work's work.
Yeah.
And like family life's family. I try and keep them as separate as possible. But it seems like a lot of people can't. That fine line doesn't exist because as soon as you're on TV, your private life doesn't exist as far as it's concerned.
That's a good segment into the other thing we wanted to talk about like entertainment. People thinking about the whole job as an entertainer being super easy, right? Like in Korea, especially, it seems like no one thinks that it's an easy job because once you become an entertainer, your life belongs to other people, right? And if you make one mistake, like they cancel the shit out of you. So like one of the things that we wanted to talk about was like, do some people take it for granted and think that it's like easy to do that job? I don't, right? I think that they kind of feel like they own you in a way, right?
Well, there definitely is that, but I think the other perspective is looking at it, people wanting to get into the industry as well, thinking that it's so easy to get into the industry.
Yeah.
You know, especially not being a Korean and working in the industry. It kind of, people think at times, it's probably easy because they're non-Korean.
Yeah.
But from my perspective, if anything, it's more difficult when you have a language barrier that is not your mother tongue to begin with.
Well, you've got to learn a whole language to start with.
And a culture. The whole entertainment industry is a completely different culture yet again. There are so many obstacles. Obstacles is probably not the best term, but there are so many speed bumps that you have to kind of get over to garner some kind of success. And I think G2 is like another example of that. Being Korean American, you know, you have people looking at you and expecting you to speak Korean. But then if you don't speak Korean perfectly, it's like, you know, why don't you speak Korean perfectly?
Exactly. And I feel like, especially in Korea, when you have a platform, people expect for you to be a certain example. But I feel like, especially in Korea, since we have one culture, that example is just very set in tone. So I think it's hard to just find that balance of just trying to be a public person and being my own person as well, too. Like you said, when you're like that famous, like people think they do own you.
I had a thing. So I was doing some tours with G Park, you know, Park Moon-soo, and like so it wasn't a big thing, but it made me think. It's kind of similar level. So we stopped off at the motorway station just to get some food, and he was like eating, and then like people just come up when he was eating, and I was thinking like, I wouldn't really enjoy that. You know, we've got 5 minutes before we've got to move, and we're eating, and like, come just wait till the guy's finished eating and then take pictures maybe. But like, no, that thought doesn't cross their mind. And he was cool with it, but I was just like, that must be quite annoying, you know, like all the time. I think
it's important to set up a good image. I set up a very like nonchalant image, so even if I'm like rude sometimes, people are just kind of understand. It's like that's just G2. Because I'm just like,
tell me more. How do you set up this image?
That's true. When I'm like very like lazy and I don't want to like take pictures, I just talk to straight. I was like, sorry, go away.
Maybe it's just me trying to look at the bright side of things, but I love how like. I'm like only well known enough that I get asked like maybe like once every like week or something for like by fans to take a picture with me, and I fucking love it every time. Get your friend want a picture too? Let's go.
Like, honestly,
I'm
on the same pace now, because back when I when I popped off and showed me the money, like I had this negative thoughts where like, oh, these aren't my true fans. They don't know my songs. But I couple years pass by and my followers, you know, go down a little bit. When fans come up to me, you know, some fans are like rude as fuck too. They're like, I don't know your name. Like I know you. Like,
where do I know you from?
I don't watch TV, but I know you're famous. I'm just like.
I even like those motherfuckers.
It's like, come on. A couple years ago, I used to take that very offensive, but now I'm just like, my name is G2. You should follow me on Instagram. I have an album coming out. Come here. Let's take a photo.
Last week before we filmed the podcast, like I went to the wrong building. There were two girls outside, and they were like, "Oh my God, you're!" And they had no fucking idea what my name was. They just saw me on something, and I was like, "Yep, that's me." I'm gonna carry this fuel in me to go hang out with Dave and Sam for a little bit and act like I'm on that level of fame.
And some fans, they ask like, yo, what's your Instagram? Can I tag you? I'm like, yes, of course.
Please do.
Please do.
I think for me, I really appreciate fans when they come up and ask for a photo. It's like, you know, even if you give 10 seconds of your time to them and it makes their day, or it makes a small part of their day any better, it's like, I feel like that's me giving back.
Yeah.
But
for sure.
It's really difficult because there are days where I have really shitty days and I'm just not in the mood to deal with anyone. But you have to put on that face and say, yeah, sure.
It's funny you say shitty, because I was just imagining, like, for me, it's more kind of situational. So if you're eating, kind of annoying. If you're taking a shit, if you're having a shitty day, if you're taking a shit, and they're trying to take a picture of you while you're on the toilet or coming out the toilet, you know, like the situation could be super awkward. And it's like, dude, mate, just chill.
On that note, though, I set up lines for me personally. When I'm eating, I'll generally say, look, I'll take a photo after I've finished eating.
That's cool.
Let me finish my meal.
Then they're sitting there waiting.
Well, if people wait, that's fine.
That's cool.
If they've waited, they've taken that time to wait, I have to, you know, that's the least I can do.
Yeah.
But some people I've had people come up and interrupt a meal that I'm having with other people, and they're like, take a photo. I'm like, I'm eating a meal that I've just paid for. Let me finish it. I understand, but take my photo.
Yeah, it's my wife's anniversary.
I understand, but I have to go. And I'm like, okay, I understand you have to go, but I still have to eat a meal. I don't want to eat a cold meal that I've paid for.
Exactly.
I've also had people approach me in the toilet.
Yeah.
Same.
And
That's weird.
Some high school boys hit me at the Jim Jilbong, bro.
I'm like, I'm sorry, I'll take a photo outside of the toilet. I've had people ask to shake my hands, and they've just gone to the toilet and they haven't even washed their hands. And I'm like, no, wash your hand and then I'll shake your hand. It's just, for me, common courtesy.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't do that.
That was my point.
I wouldn't do it to anybody else.
Yeah.
So I'd expect that other people wouldn't do it to me. But I can understand there are differences in the way people think. So I just say, look, let me finish my meal. I'll take a photo in front of outside of the toilet.
Somewhere nice. Yeah.
And like even in front of the toilet with the man in front of the door. Like I'm like, do you really want that in the back of a photo?
Yeah,
they probably do.
It's not a cool photo.
They probably do, yeah.
It's not a cool
But
photo.
I think it's just a lack of thought on some parts as well. Just like, it's not like I deliberately set out to be awkward to this person, but you just like think a little bit more and then, you know.
Well, I think sometimes people get excited when they see someone they're a fan of as well. And the first thing is like, I'd love to get a photo with this person. And so like environmentally, it doesn't really click. Like they don't think, oh, I'm in the toilet or he's having a meal or it's just they see the person and they're like, I want a photo. Yeah. And I can understand that. But yeah, time and place.
Yeah, for sure.
Bit more thought.
For sure. I have some, I know
Let's go and
sometimes.
take a picture in the toilet, bro.
Together in the stall.
If you want, man.
But sometimes I have had moments where I was like a straight up asshole because some people would ask me for an autograph and I'm just like, look, this autograph is gonna mean nothing to you in a month.
Whoa, that's self-deprecating.
Like I'll take a photo. I'd rather take a photo with you. They're like, okay.
Yeah.
And then some people like I would have masks on and they would ask me to take the mask off and I was like, no.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay. Like, all right, bye. So I'm very cool about it. But like, you know, most of my fans, like they're very cool about it. They, like whenever I cuss at them, like they like it.
They like it, like swear at me.
Oh my God.
It's like Gio Da Vinci, bro. That motherfucker just does whatever he wants. When people come up and ask him for shit, he just like makes that crazy ass man. You know?
But I definitely
People
appreciate
that he's himself, you know, and I think it's the same with you.
I definitely appreciate the fans that I know it takes a lot of courage just to like go up and ask. So I appreciate that. But like you said,
and we just want to let you know, come up anytime.
Yeah, come up anytime. I'm here. Not in the toilet though.
Especially if my girlfriend's around, because y'all never come to talk to me when she's there, and I want her to know that you exist.
Okay.
Proving it. Yeah,
this is something for me that gets a little weird. People, when I'm with my wife, people come up to my wife and ask permission to get a photo from my wife.
Yeah,
so the first thing I'm like, oh, you want me to take a photo of the two of you together? Like, it's like, it's easy enough to ask me, but I don't know if it's a cultural thing, but it's kind of like, they ask permission from my wife, and my wife's like, yeah, take a photo with them. I'm like, hang on, nobody's asked me if I want to take a photo. What about me? I'm a person too.
I wonder if they just are like, they feel like when they see a foreigner, they have to speak English, and they're like nervous about that.
Yeah, that's that. I feel like that too. That makes sense.
It kind of
That's a weird
feels
one,
to me
man,
like it's a respect.
Yeah.
Like, asking my wife's permission.
Yeah.
Like if they come to me direct, it could kind of be offensive to my wife. I don't know.
Maybe they're deliberately taking away your power. It's like, Sam would really like a picture right now, so I'm just going to take one of his misses and then disappear. It's like, and then watch his face. It's like, I did that.
I did that, yeah.
When my little sister and her boyfriend came to visit for the first time, it was like when the TV show that I was doing, Sign Here, was like really popping off, and I actually was getting recognized a lot. But everyone was too scared to come up. And this was before my sister had seen one of the episodes, but I really wanted her to see like, yo, there's a reason why I'm over here and shit. And every time they would like walk away or go to the bathroom, or if we were like shopping or something and they went to a different aisle, people would walk up and be like, oh, Hokshi's over there. And I'd be like, just, damn, we can do a picture just hold it up. Let's go slow. Let's do it slow. Let's start coughing and shit, trying to get her to come find me. But yeah.
I definitely had that when I first came to the States and I started getting recognized a little bit in the underground scene. Like I took my dad to like Hongdae, where there's like a lot of young kids.
Yeah.
They're like, where are we going here? It's like, no, there's a good beer place somewhere here. Let's walk around a little bit more. And then I would be one of these motherfuckers.
You went to the park, right?
Yeah, I went near the park. Yeah. So I took a photo. I was like, oh, we could go somewhere now.
Yeah.
I was all like nonchalant. I was acting all cool about it. I was like, yeah, this happens every day. Yeah, it's nothing.
Be like that.
The recommendation, Guangzhong, Xizang, you know they have like the vintage clothes store.
Yeah.
They're all there, bro. All the hip hop fans are there, bro. That was like the last day my sister was there. We went there, and all those motherfuckers knew part-time.
Nice.
All of them knew part-time cooks.
Nice.
So it's a secret weapon next time you're
Nice. Yeah, so I guess getting into the industry here as an outsider, as a non-Korean, there are definitely a lot of difficulties. It's not something you can just put your hand up and say, I'm going to be on TV. I'm going to make music. I'm going to start performing. Everyone has had to kind of cut their teeth essentially. Like I've been doing this for, I guess, since I first got here, like 18 years.
Dang.
And then it didn't pop off until like 3 years after that. So it's been 15 years. And that's been progressively kind of building up from, doing a comedy TV show once a week on stage until being able to do regular television. It took a long time. But I think it's something we've all experienced. It's not an overnight thing.
It's another thing to be in the industry, but like to match with the time of the flow of like, of like how things are going. Like I said, like what's hot or what's popular right now. You just have to constantly adjust to that. And I feel like, especially from being like, from the States, like, there's definitely times where I just wanted to just leave the country and just like, cause I was so burnt out. And it was just hard because every year there's something new that I got to adjust to.
How lucky are we to be in Korea right now, though?
Yeah. Definitely, that's
so
true.
America sounds crazy.
I was just in LA like a month and a half ago. It's such a weird vibe.
Yeah.
Like nobody, like not even my friends were happy to see me. I was like, hey, I'm here. They're like, why?
My little sister works at the hospital in LA.
Yeah. Oh, man.
She was working in the COVID unit, but she's not anymore. But she said that like now that there's like a little bit more room in the hospital, like all of the doctors are trying to like make up on like lost surgeries, and they're trying to like make money because the system was so messed up. Like,
I mean, there's definitely like, I feel like it's more, they had set up a format now. Like even when I go to Whole Foods, like people they'll abide the rules of like waiting in line and everybody has a mask on. So everybody just kind of very shady and sketched out by other people. So when they look at me, they're just like, ugh.
Yo, my dad just got banned from Sainsbury's. You know Sainsbury's? It's like a big, like Tesco's, big supermarket store. So basically he's
like a Costco kind of thing?
Yeah, like huge. But it's basically he's got a helmet, like a motorbike helmet, and he puts some filters, like charcoal filters on there. So it's all airtight around there. So basically he breathes like super clean air. It's got like 4 layers of filters.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of time on his hands, basically, and it works. But he went into the supermarket with this on, and they were like, you have to leave, and like you have to get out. And he was like, well, this is bullshit.
Why did they want to
ban him?
Because in probably the same as in Australia, balaclavas, motorbike helmets and whatnot are not considered
a mask
because like you could never wear them into certain establishments because people would think you're going to rob the establishment.
That's true.
Danger.
Yeah.
But, and I said to him like a few weeks before this happened, I was like, you should get like a little tannoy in there where you can explain, because without taking your mask off, you can explain what you're doing and why you're doing it. Like use Stephen Hawking's voice or something cool, like quirky. Use something quirky and then maybe even sell it.
So did he make this contraption himself?
Oh, no.
He's got a lot of time. He's got a lot of time on his hands. But yeah, so he's banned from Sainsbury's now. I'm like, respect.
He got
Booyakasha.
They banned him for that.
Yeah, banned.
Wow.
That's
It's
ridiculous.
dope. So now he's going to try and go to the newspaper and do some like other weird shit with lots of time in his hands.
I guess you can be too careful.
It's a great way to promote that thing that he's built though.
Exactly, and he's gonna, you can sell they're privately made, not factory made or whatever. So, but like if someone wants one, you're 500 a pop or whatever.
This is random, but because I was about to ask you if your dad's come, but I know that your Australian cousin came before, right?
Yeah, my dad's been here like 2 or 3 times.
He's been here too.
Yeah,
What was that thing that he called six packs again? What do you call tinners?
Tinnies.
Tinnies are a canned beer. We call them tinnies.
Tinnies.
Oh.
He taught me all like the lingo for Australian beer drinking. It's so good.
The big bottles of beer, long necks.
The long necks.
Long necks.
Long necks.
Yeah, let's go have long neck.
We call it long necks in the States too.
Yeah.
Long necks. We got that.
You know the VB beer guy, right? The old Australian man who's like, if you're a full-blown Aussie, this is what you have for breakfast, you dog cunts. Long neck at 20 to 8 in the fucking morning. You never seen that? Oh my God, dude, he's a legend. My little brother told me he heard that guy died recently.
It sounds like a lot of people in Australia.
Yeah,
though.
they called him what do you call a redneck in Australia?
A bogan.
A bogan.
Yeah.
Whenever you
Bogan.
show it to an Australian, he's like, that's just every bogan talks like that. She's like,
How much is to get tested in Australia?
What's that?
How much is it to get tested for COVID in Australia?
I have no idea.
Okay.
what have you been tested?
I got tested.
Did it hurt?
Yeah.
Because you came back from LA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it definitely made me feel better because, I know, like, I don't have the COVID, obviously, but, You know, I feel like everybody went through this, like when you have a cough or when you're feeling tired, like
Every time.
Paranoid.
hold the
Like,
hot.
I've got it.
Yeah.
Am I getting hot?
I was like, yikes.
Yeah.
Now, but they stick like the whole little, little brush thing up your nose. Like, literally, I felt
In
it
your
like
brain.
on my fucking back of my eyeballs. Sneeze like 13 times in a row. Snot everywhere. But
Clearing
that
out
definitely made me
those
feel
sinuses,
safer.
that's
Yeah.
for sure.
They stick another thing up down your throat too. by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
it's like
pretty- it's pretty painful.
sounds like a spit
Swallow.
roast.
Just lower the tone at the end. I like it.
I like it.
Yeah, I figured I'd have to wrap it up some way or another. G2, TJ Fenner, thank you for both joining us today.
Thank you, man.
If you'd like to give a shout out for anything you've got coming up, any performances, I know you've got an album coming out.
Yeah.
Now's the time.
Oh, well, it's on a Monday. It's a holiday. 17th, 6 p.m. Water.
Monday's a holiday?
Monday is
15th is the holiday, but they've
it's on the weekend.
brought it over to the 17th
Yeah.
because the 15th is Saturday.
Cool.
Yeah, so on a Monday, I know nobody has shit to do. 6 p.m. Water, 9 tracks. Check it out.
Yeah.
Nice.
I got a new track. I just went to Tanzania recently, before Corona kicked off, actually. My friend opened up a school out there for, like, you know, kids that don't really have enough resources around them. But so basically, I made a track with some people in the area, and we've made a video to promote the school as well. So that's gonna. I'm still not quite finished. The bass line on the track is annoying me, so it's holding me back. So it's a musician's point of view, but that should be coming out next month. So. And I've got a YouTube channel starting up with like DJing stuff and interviews. So
Cool.
there's some cool guests coming on there as well. So if you want to stay up to date with any of that, just go onto Instagram, Fenner Official, and then just all
shit.
of that stuff will be coming
Yeah,
there.
follow me on Instagram too.
What is it? What is it? Plug it.
At G2's Life.
And ask him
Super
for
easy.
pictures.
At G2's Life.
Yeah, at G2's Life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So ask me for pictures too. I won't be an asshole, promise. I promise.
That's the old G2.
I changed.
All right, well,
Wicked,
of course, you can find Nonsensible on Spotify. You can find us on Apple Podcasts as well. Leave us a nice review. We appreciate
The
all those
reviews
reviews.
actually mean like so much in the podcast
They do.
game, right?
Is it like getting a picture
yeah.
taken with you? Like a nice review is like...
It's deeper than that.
It's
deeper.
deep. It just kind of helps with generating more listenership and more listenership. The more reviews we have, the better they are.
Can I write a review? Be like, yo, that
Please
guy.
do.
Like,
Yo, those hosts are fucking douches.
create a few spy accounts. Like,
just begging for people to take
Please do.
photos with them.
you know the guy who gave
Yeah.
Saul the pink T-shirt? That's me. Like he's back, bro.
I'm back.
I'm back.
You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at Dive Studios, youtube.com/divepods. And guys, thank you once again for joining us on the show today.
Yeah, thank you.
Guys, you're
Yeah,
the
it's been
best.
fun. It's been fun. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. We'll see you all again soon.
Peace.
Hope you enjoyed the clip. If you did, listen to the full episode on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
And make sure to subscribe to this channel, Dive Studios, and put those notifications on. Hit that bell.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.